All right, and we're back with another Mary Truth Talks. I'm your host, Marianne, and this is the MTT Show. Before we begin, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and X, Mary, Mary underscore truths with an S. And if you believe in the wellness mentality that we are cultivating on MB Elevates, follow that as well. That's at MB Elevates. We also have a Patreon account. Support us there too. All right. Let's begin with the show. Oh, by the way, guys, thank you so much for subscribing, those new subscribers. I appreciate you. Thank you for supporting. It literally is the reason why our account is being shown to other people. So kudos to you guys. All right, so let's begin here. Chicago raids continue. Judge blocks National Guard troops deploy to Oregon. Day 5 of government shutdown. Democrats want to give illegal taxpayer-funded healthcare. That's the reason for the shutdown, supposedly, so we'll see if that's what's going on there. Trump made a deal with Pfizer, and BadBunny is now going to be at the Super Bowl. So, I don't really care for BadBunny, but because people do, I'm talking about it. All right, so let's start with Chicago. Man, I want to go to Chicago, but I need them to figure their stuff out first before I go there. Just like New York City.
This hour with the alarming scenes coming out of Chicago and the surrounding area where the Trump administration has escalated its immigration crackdown. Officers were seen in riot gear, gas masks, and armored cars as protesters gathered yesterday outside a detention center. At times, there were confrontations with federal agents leading to a number of arrests. Those same agents have been seen in tactical gear, roaming the streets openly carrying guns in a show of intimidation. And then there was this early morning raid of an apartment building earlier this week that involved around 300 federal agents, including those rappelling down from a Black Hawk helicopter. As the Chicago Sun-Times reports, quote, armed federal agents in military fatigues busted down their doors overnight, pulling men, women, and children from their apartments, some of them naked, residents and witnesses said. Allegedly. Agents approached or entered nearly every apartment in this 5-story building, and U.S. citizens were among those detained for hours. Agents claimed the neighborhood was, quote, a location known to be frequented by Trinidad Aragua members and their associates. But DHS, of course, gave no evidence to support that assertion, and authorities did not confirm that any of the people arrested were members of the Venezuelan gang. Joining us now is Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Mayor Johnson, thank you so much for coming. I want to start with the raid because for so long, the American people have felt safe in their homes from a lot of the things that are going around in the streets, whether it's these immigration raids or the Marines in LA or whatever.
I don't think so. If you live in Chicago, I don't think you feel safe.
People in your community, in your city, who are American citizens, who no evidence has been shown that they are a part of Trinidad Aragua or even any of the other folks that were in that building a part of that. Talk a little bit about what it is like for the people in that apartment building to feel so under siege.
How would they know? How would he know? He doesn't live there.
Well, the tensions are certainly high in the city of Chicago. What the president is doing is absolutely dangerous and unconstitutional. But our position is clear. We're going to remain resolved and firm in our position to protect the rights of all of our residents. What you are describing is something that we have been warning about for some time, that there are a number of people, including the President of the United States of America, that have decided to declare war on poor people and on working people across the country. And this raid that you are describing was on the south side of Chicago, where black folks live. And it is evident that this is not about safety. It's not about deportation. This is about the President of the United States of America and his kind that are looking to stoke and foment chaos and fear within our streets of cities across America. But we're going to remain firm and we're going to fight back against this tyranny.
Yeah. Okay.
Johnson,
so
Secretary.
You see the language. He just used tyranny, fight back, chaos. I don't know what else he said there, but I'm just going to get those three because I kind of tune out a little bit when he talks because he's so full of shit. He's the reason why this is happening. Him and Pritzker. They didn't bother to allow them to go into their jails and see what undocumented person is there or what resident is there. Because if you're a resident and you're in jail, then you can be deported out of here because you're a guest. You may be legal, but you're still a guest. You shouldn't be committing crimes. So this is their fault. And then at the same time, these clowns are like, oh, you know, the fact that they went into... Okay. All right, cool. Thank you. The fact that they went into a building and they raided the building, people were coming out naked. Where, I mean, I'm not saying I want to see that, but there should be footage, right? Where you blur out the naked people. Like, where's the footage? Where's the evidence? This is all hearsay information. And this is why I continue to say this is propaganda. Where is the evidence? Where are the facts? In order for you to say that this is happening, you need to have proof that this is happening. Where is the proof? That's where I'm trying to figure out, like, how the hell are these people on network? Like, this is a joke. This is a freaking joke. And then on top of that, all right, anybody who's, listen, this is like common sense stuff. If you watch Law and Order shows, if you like, I like crime shows, I study criminal justice, I personally enjoy that. Maybe some people don't. I do. So the protocol to raid a building is, first of all, you don't go door to door. You raid the entire building. No one knows that you're raiding the building because the people that you're targeting cannot know it's being raided because then they can flee. Like, common sense stuff. You target the building, you raid it, you make sure everybody is detained, and you arrest those who you were trying to find in that building. Everybody else who's being detained is not arrested because they're being detained. That's protocol for police officers and for federal law enforcers. You have to detain people because you're doing an operation, and once you got those people that you needed to get, then you release those people. That's it. That's how this works. And they're making it seem like, oh, they're stripping the rights of Americans. Like, no, they're not. This is what happens in normal protocol procedure when it comes to law enforcement. Like, you can look this up. It's just so ridiculous that they're literally complaining about basic law enforcement procedures. Like, it's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Let me read this really quick. What does it say here? Love your content. I appreciate you. Afro dude is fruity. Yeah. Mel, you did me wrong, bro. You said I looked like Mona Lisa. Mona Lisa's not pretty, bro. You did me wrong. Just put it out there. Mayor of Chicago might as well be made out of cardboard. Yeah, for real. OMG, I can't stand Mayor Johnson, how he go from being a geographic school teacher to running a city. Yeah, I know. And he gave more money to the school board. Let's see here. He was in shock when he found out a few months back, and I said, okay, you're responding back to somebody. Guys, thank you so much for commenting. Keep engaging. I'm gonna be looking at the chat through my partner's phone here because I don't use my laptop anymore. I get distracted. Oh, you're talking to the dog. If you hear weird noises, guys, it is the dog. So just giving you guys a heads up. It's the dog. It's not us. All right. So let's look at the next video. Second video, whenever you're ready. Telling Ash to sit down. Oh, man. One day we'll put him on the camera. All right. This is from 3 days ago, by the way, Chicago.
And it is a similar scene in Chicago. Violence escalating between protesters and ICE agents here. A woman was shot after she allegedly attempted to hit federal officers with her car. Then in Broadview, Illinois, that's about a half hour west of the city, the Department of Homeland Security is reporting that law enforcement officers were rammed by vehicles and boxed in by 10 cars. That's where we find News Nation's Mills Hayes. Mills, what are you seeing out there today?
Hi, Kelly. Well, there are more protesters that have started to come here to this Broadview ICE facility. We know there's some more activity. Also, where that woman was shot, you mentioned that. Now, we also know that Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker says that President Trump plans to federalize 100 Illinois National Guard troops to help protect ICE personnel and facilities. We expect this crowd here at the Broadview ICE facility to grow throughout the night. Now, meanwhile, DHS is
these people don't work
after a woman
clearly
was shot by federal law enforcement officers after allegedly trying to ram Border Patrol agents with her car. DHS Secretary Kristi Noem posting on X saying, quote, members of our brave law enforcement were attacked, rammed, and boxed in by 10 vehicles, including an attacker with a semi-automatic weapon, adding that she is deploying more special operations to control the scene. The FBI is investigating, and the woman is in critical condition at the hospital. Protesters responding nearby the incident, angry about ICE activity in the area. One woman saying her son, who is a U.S. citizen, was detained earlier today by immigration officials. All of this happening after Secretary Noem's visit to the Broadview ICE facility, where protests have been intense. She did not take questions from the press. Border Patrol Commander-at-Large Gregory Bovino leading the arrest outside the facility on Friday. DHS says that 13, quote, rioters were arrested during the standoff, with Illinois State Police joining federal law enforcement officers in trying to keep protesters back. Meanwhile, Operation Midway Blitz enforcement operations continue. This video showing the moments that federal law enforcement deployed tear gas from their SUV in front of a Hispanic grocery store while community activists tried to impede ICE vehicles. A similar situation outside a local hospital.
Yep, she definitely asked for it.
While protesters
You're right
tried
about
to
that.
block law enforcement
Kid
vehicles.
50.
Chicago alderperson Jesse Fuentes was briefly put in handcuffs at that hospital after trying to get more information about an undocumented man who was injured during an arrest and at the hospital. Protesters saying that there is no need for the National Guard.
We're here today because we don't know what else to do. I mean, what's happening in this country is insane. I heard just this morning, first thing, of
it's insane that we are taking our security seriously.
Student
That's
in my
insane.
children's school district
Absolutely
being
insane.
kidnapped by ICE and taken. I don't know all the details, but this is affecting communities. It's affecting everyone.
Oh my gosh, she sounds like a Karen.
And I reached out to Chicago Public Schools. That they confirmed to me that there were federal law enforcement immigration officers near an elementary school in Logan Square neighborhood just yesterday. And they continue to say that the safest place for students and staff is still at school, despite that activity around the school there, Kelly.
All right, Mills Hayes, we'll be checking back in. Mills, thank you.
Thank you for
All
watching.
right, do the next one.
We begin tonight.
Yeah, that's fine.
Urging
Yeah.
Hamas to, quote,
Is that the
move
one right after? Yeah, that's it.
quickly on his Gaza peace deal as talks are underway right now in Egypt. Just moments ago,
Wait,
he posted to
what?
True Social
No.
No, it's not. I'm telling you, it's not.
I thought you had just
No,
put
like
the...
in bio
Oh,
itself,
okay,
yeah.
yeah, entendí. I was like, wait, that's not it. We're not talking
News
about it.
Nation's Mills Hayes joins us now live from
All right,
Broadview,
that's
Illinois.
a day ago.
This
That
is just
just
west of the
happened
city
recently, or
with
today.
the very latest on the protests.
Wait, before we move forward,
Uh-huh.
read the comments. Gotta open the door for this guy.
Yeah, because he keeps making these weird noises he likes to make. Affecting communities. Yeah. They're affecting communities by trying to remove people that are not supposed to be there and committing crimes. That's how they're affecting the community. Wow, that's insane. I'll get bored too quick to be out there. That's what I'm saying. Like, these people got nothing better to do, bro. Like, what is going on? What is going on, bro? Unbelievable. But, we can protest. We have the right to protest in this country. So, let them. If that's what they want to do, then whatever. They're not doing anything to stop them from doing what they need to do. But whatever. It is what it is. That's what they want to do. Let them do it. All right.
What was that guy that they're paying like over $100,000 a year to protest?
No, it wasn't over $100,000.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, I
It's
don't.
like a crazy amount, but he's
Oh.
like been doing it for years.
I don't know.
We've seen mills erupt in this area in particular.
Right, Kelly. Protests here have been pretty much constant. There are about 30 protesters that are out here. There was actually a scuffle that was happening over to my left.
30
you can see that
protesters?
there's the Cook County
That's
Sheriff's
whack.
Office as well as Broadview and Illinois State Police. They were breaking up a group of pro-ICE protesters and anti-ICE protesters who were getting into a heated argument over there. But as you can see, those protesters all in the designated free speech zone, which has been put into place by Illinois State Police. And you can see Illinois State Police vehicles blocking the road over here in front of the Broadview ICE facility. That gate in the background as well, protecting that brick building where they're detaining migrants. It's supposed to be a processing facility, but we're told by some lawyers who have clients inside that they're sometimes being kept there for multiple days. Now, President Trump even announcing today that he would be sending the National Guard in. He's authorized 300 National Guard troops to come in to the city. Illinois Governor Pritzker calling the move a manufactured performance and not a serious effort to protect public safety.
55 people died over a short period of time. You're telling me there's no city in the world like that. We're going to straighten it out. And I think that Pritzker, he's not a stupid person. I think that Pritzker's afraid for his life.
City of Chicago data shows that 324 people have tragically died so far this year. It is still a 28% decline from the year before. It's unclear
people?
when and where the troops would be coming.
almost
A White
one person
House
a day, bro.
spokesperson confirming that the deployment cited, quote, ongoing violent riots and lawlessness that local leaders have not quelled. Illinois State Police have been protecting the Broadview ICE facility for the last few days, pushing protesters back with wooden batons and making arrests. Governor Pritzker speaking out today as well.
They are the ones that are making it a war zone. They need to get out of Chicago. If they're not going to focus on the worst of the worst, which is what the president said they were going to do, they need to get the heck out.
And we saw a tense standoff between Illinois State Police and protesters just last night, with those protesters calling the state police traitors for protecting this federal building here, Kelly.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth, Mills.
All right,
and
that's
we also
it. Okay, so what I'm trying to figure out is, what is the actual plan of this guy? Aside from overeating, what is his plan? Because it's like, oh, we need you to get out. Okay, and what are you going to do, dude? What have you done? People are dying almost on a daily basis in your city, and you've done nothing. You've done nothing. Oh, it's gone down. Clearly not enough. If we're over 300 people in a year, like, what are you talking about? So what you're saying is you want people to continue dying. That's what you're saying. We don't want your help. We'd rather people die because we want to figure it out. That's literally what he's saying without saying it. That to me is treason. Straight up, like in a nutshell. These people need to get investigated. There needs to be a massive investigation on these people. Every single governor who says they don't want federal government, when they have people dying on their street on a weekly basis, almost daily basis, investigation immediately. Immediately. They probably wouldn't be able to go to treason because it's technically like, oh, you have to be like international or whatever. But the closest thing to that would be sedition. Give him the hardest core charge possible. Obviously investigate, due process, trial, all that jazz, but they need to be investigated. Every single one. Oregon, California, Illinois, every single one has to be investigated. I am so tired of this shit. This is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. The fact that me, an American citizen who came here legally, by the way, to all those useful idiots on Instagram, follow me on Instagram, Marian Discord Truth, who swear I'm Puerto Rican, you're dumb, because Puerto Ricans are American. And I've said countless of times before that I'm a legal migrant. Meaning, how can I be Puerto Rican if I'm a legal migrant? People are so stupid. Like, God, it's so retarded. Like, hello, do you not know that for you to be Puerto Rican, you already have an American passport? Like, hello, learn some like basic information about international. You literally have no clue what you're talking about. Oh my God, Greg. All right, this is one of the useful idiots I was talking about. It's Greg. Hi, Greg. Thank you for joining. So yeah, Greg is one of the useful idiots I've been talking about. They don't know that first of all, I was born in Cuba, right? I came here when I was very, very young. I was raised in South Florida, which is a bunch of Cubans here. Now, I came here legally, and I naturalized as a citizen almost 20 years later, okay? I assimilated into this country. Greg doesn't know what that means, unfortunately. A lot of Americans don't know what assimilation means, which is very unfortunate considering you're American, born and raised in America, and you don't know that assimilation means me as a migrant comes to America and learns English, which is the most basic way to assimilate to a country is learning the language. It's not learning the food, it's learning the language. You have to communicate with the natives that live there, which I did. I learned the language to the point that it's pretty hard for you to know that I'm probably a migrant. I've been told by many Americans before, oh, you don't really have an accent. Yeah, I worked really hard to not have an accent because I give a shit about that type of stuff. Now, I'm digressing. What I'm trying to figure out is, why are Americans not understanding the basic concept of legal migration versus illegal migration? Again, I'm a legal migrant and I understand this concept very well. Why don't you? I feel like I continue to say the same thing over and over again. If you don't have a safe border, you don't have a sovereign country. Again, basic stuff that you're taught in school. When you look up sovereignty, it's defined by the borders of the country. That's one of the things that makes you a sovereign country. It's the borders. If the borders are not secure, then you don't have a sovereign country. Now, do you? So for those Americans out there like Greg, who claim they love America, you really don't give a shit about Americans if you want massive migration, even if it means breaking immigration laws and pretty much diluting what it means to be a sovereign nation. And it's very unfortunate that me, a born Cuban, coming from a communist socialist country, coming to America, assimilating to this country, I completely understand the importance of legal migration and sovereignty. Very unfortunate that we're going through this. But hey, thankfully, we have more people waking up and less people like Greg out there. So Greg, shout out to you. I hope you become more aware of your reality and you stop living in a nutshell. But, I appreciate you for joining in anyway, though. All right, so let's talk about, I think there's a third one, right? There's a third video. All right, let's watch that third video, and then we'll move on to the judge blocking National Guard in Oregon.
High energy during protests this afternoon. I want to show you some remnants of confrontation. If you look on the floor, you can see a blue-looking substance. That is remnants of what appeared to be a gas deployed against protesters who were blocking the driveway to the ICE facility. Protesters being sprayed with what looked like gas after blocking the driveway outside the ICE facility. Our crew seeing at least one person detained, though earlier in the day, a different story. What looked like over 100 people marching peacefully outside the ICE building.
Right now, they're trying to criminalize any form of dissent. So I just wanted to make it clear and simple that I don't agree.
They're not criminalizing your dissent.
Stay,
you're allowed to protest.
Also happening Saturday, the decision in the state of Oregon and the city of Portland versus the federal government released.
Judge Aaron Mergood ultimately agreed with us and granted the temporary restraining order today, effectively stopping the president from federalizing the National Guard.
Yeah.
As the judge noted in her decision, we provided substantial evidence that the protests at the Portland ICE facility were not significantly violent or disruptive in the days or even the weeks leading up to the president's directive.
But this is not the end of the legal battle.
Current temporary restraining order will last for 14 days. We will be back in front of the judge asking for an extension of that, ultimately getting to the 26th of October so we can get a preliminary injunction which will last a longer period of time.
That preliminary injunction is a longer pause that can last until a judge decides the merits of the arguments on both sides. The White House sending us a statement reading, President Trump exercised his lawful authority to protect federal assets and personnel in Portland following violent riots and attacks on law enforcement. We expect to be vindicated by a higher court. Protests outside the ICE facility have been happening for months.
Yeah, all right. So, I mean, honestly, you know what? This this is like a pattern that I don't know how people like are not seeing the pattern. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm seeing it. So those who see it, kudos to you. Those who don't see it, I don't know what to tell you. This is what's gonna happen. They're gonna appeal, and in that time frame, if things get worse, which they will, because he already told ICE, if they try to obstruct, you are allowed to use force. So that's already been said. So yeah, things are going to get worse during that pause. And that's going to, again, give him a justification to be like, yeah, we need National Guard there. Because we gave him the pause, and look at how these people have been acting and treating federal officers. So they can try to stop this all they want, but the reality is you have radicalized a group of people that think they genuinely believe that ICE is like these evil people that are destroying the country, because they believe that mass migration is more important than sovereignty of the country. That's literally what's going on right now. They think human rights is more important than the security of American citizens. And I'm sorry, you're wrong. Sovereignty is more important than human rights. Because when you say human rights, you're pretty much saying, yeah, we're going to just ignore immigration laws. We're going to ignore just laws in general because of human rights. No, I'm sorry. It doesn't work like that. We choose who can come into this country, and those who are not supposed to be here, we kick them out. That's how this is supposed to work. Because then, again, we're not a sovereign country. So, like I said, I'm telling you here, I was right about National Guard going to Chicago. I said it was going to happen, and I'm going to be probably right again. And again, I'm not even trying to be right. It's just common sense. It's a pattern. If you pay attention, you will see the pattern. But I digress. Let's see here. What are people? I usually don't read my comments, but my producer is insisting. Portland makes Chicago look normal. Yeah, it does. For now. Greg is sad. Yeah, he is. It's very unfortunate. Also, a few moments ago, you said that I was a useful idiot. Yeah, you are. If you are advocating for talking points of a side that wants to vaporize you, that's you being a useful idiot. I don't even know what you meant by that, guy. I think you should learn how to write better. You're an American. You should know how to write. You know, there should be commas in there. I honestly don't know what the hell you meant. So if you want to clarify, use commas next time. All right. So day 5 of the government shutdown. Let's talk about that. Another clown. Another useful idiot. Let's go.
The government. When is the last time you spoke with Republican leadership?
Well, the last time there was a conversation with Republican leadership was in the White House meeting last Monday, and unfortunately, since that point in time, Republicans, including Donald Trump, have gone radio silent. And what we've seen is negotiation through deepfake videos, the House canceling votes, and of course, President Trump spending yesterday on the golf course. That's not responsible behavior. As Democrats, our view is that we will find bipartisan common ground with our Republican colleagues to reopen the government, to actually pass a spending bill that meets the needs of the American people. But we have to decisively address this Republican healthcare crisis that is devastating hardworking American taxpayers.
You know, Democrats are demanding an extension of Obamacare tax credits, which expire at the end of the year, as well as other health care benefits for the funding bill. Here is what the vice president said about that this week. Take a look.
It's a lie told by the Democrats that they're not trying to give health care benefits to illegal aliens. It's a lie that is obviously untrue if you just look at the text that they gave us.
He says that Democrats are lying. What is your response to that?
Well, unfortunately, Republicans are lying because they're losing in the court of public opinion as it relates to what's going on
You're losing
right now. We are standing up for the health care of hardworking American taxpayers, of working class Americans, of middle class Americans, and everyday Americans who have seen over
you don't
the last
care about middle class Americans.
Republicans pass their one big ugly bill, largest cut to Medicaid in American history. Hospitals and nursing homes and community-based health clinics are closing all throughout the country, including in rural America. if Republicans continue to refuse to extend the Affordable Care Act tax credits, tens of millions of American taxpayers are going to experience dramatically increased premiums, co-pays, and deductibles. And that information from their insurance companies is going out right now. Now, federal law clearly prohibits the expenditure of taxpayer dollars to provide health care to undocumented immigrants, period, full stop. And no Democrat on Capitol Hill is trying to change that.
There's a loophole to that.
Leader Jeffries, let me ask
And
you,
he knows
because as you
that.
just mentioned, you are also calling for a complete rollback of the Medicaid cuts, which Republicans just passed. They say it's a non-starter. Why include that? Why not just focus on your argument that you want to see those Obamacare tax credits extended, which expire at the end of the year?
This Republican health care crisis is all-encompassing, and it has been devastating to the well-being of the American people. We're talking about people in rural America, working-class America, urban America, small-town America, the heartland of America, and black and brown communities all throughout America. Now, we have made clear that in terms of what's immediately in front of us, there, of course, is an urgent need to address the Affordable Care Act and the Republicans' refusal to extend these tax credits.
That's a great,
what
it's
we're
a great
talking about
marketing
here
for
is a dramatic impact on real, everyday Americans.
All right, I'm done with this guy, dude. He's so full of shit. All right, listen, Linda, listen. All right, there's 57 Democrats. Okay, I'm sorry. There's 57 Republicans in the Senate. Okay, out of 57, 56 voted to keep the government open. That's 98% of Republicans in the Senate said yes, keep the government open. Okay, you're with me? All right, cool. There's 47, if I'm not mistaken, let me confirm, yes, 47 Democrats in the Senate. Out of the 47, only 3 voted yes. That's 6% voted to keep the government open. So why do these people continue to say it's Trump's fault when the numbers literally are telling you it's their fault? They were supposed to vote, only 7 of them, that's 15%. We're not asking for more than 15. We're asking for 15% of votes to keep the government open in order for people to get paid. And they chose not to because of politics. Because even this lady who's very left literally was pressing him and saying, okay, but why can you just keep the government open and negotiate the extended Obama cuts? Which they're willing to actually negotiate that, but they need to make adjustments because the extended Obama cuts are literally allowing people that are making over $50,000, $60,000 a year to get that. And that's supposed to be for low income people. That is the whole point of Obamacare. And they don't care. They think you should get it. They think everybody should get Obamacare. No matter what money you make, you get it, you get it, you get it. Everybody should get Obamacare. Yeah, that's literally what socialism is. It's literally the haves paying for the have-nots. That's literally what happened in Cuba. And it's happening here. It's manifesting its head here. And these people who were, which by the way, the government is shut down. You think their salaries cut? No, fam. They still get paid. There's Republicans right now, and I think there's a couple Democrats too, that are like, yeah, this is not good. Like we're technically the reason why the government shut down and we're getting paid. Not a good look politically. So there are some Democrats and there are Republicans who are signing letters and sending it to the Treasury, and they're like, yeah, don't pay me until the government is back up again. But that should be like law. If the government is shut down and you're not gonna pay the military, you shouldn't get paid either. It's your fault why the government shut down in the first place. Why the fuck are you getting a paycheck? Excuse my language. I'm trying not to curse, but it's really it's hard when you're dealing with incompetent people who were paying our tax dollars, our hard-earned tax dollars, and this is what they do. They shut the government down because of politics. And then we have idiots like Greg who are like, oh, what's wrong with that? Everybody should have health care. What's wrong with mass migration? Why don't you leave the country, bro? You clearly don't give a shit about America, bro. Leave. Sayonara, please. We don't need people like you here, bro. I'm sorry. Listen, I believe in God. I believe in Christian values, but I don't tolerate stupidity. I don't tolerate it. So if you don't understand the concept of sovereignty, you can leave and go to a country who doesn't give a shit about its sovereignty, like Canada or the UK. Go to those countries. They'll welcome you in. We don't need you here, all right? All the Gregs out there, sayonara, please, goodbye. We don't need you here. Please. Greg, you're being an example, all right? Don't take it personal, all right? You're making it easy for me to make an example out of you. All right, so let's go to the next one. Is that it? Oh, this was good. This is good. So this is, we're getting a call. Okay, well, he can wait. I'll call you back. All right. Business is called.
A lot of you have been
All right, so hold on. That way I can say the context of this. All right, so this was during the election season, all right, where they asked the people that were running for president if they agreed to give illegal migrants or undocumented migrants, because you know how they like to be politically correct, health care. All right? And they're saying that this is not true, that they're not going to do this, but we have it on camera, guys. Go.
A lot of you have been talking tonight about these government health care plans that you've proposed in one form or another. This is a show of hands question, and hold them up for a moment so people can see. Raise your hand if your government plan would provide coverage for undocumented immigrants.
Oh, look at that. Everybody rose their hands.
Let me start with you, Mayor Buttigieg. Why?
Look at that. Everybody rose their hands. But yet they have the audacity to lie to the American people through the FCC license, okay, and say, no, that is not true. We don't want to give illegals any health care. It is already a federal law. We know that we're not supposed to do that. So then why on earth are people raising their hands, running for president, saying that they're totally okay with that? Yeah, because clearly y'all know that there's a federal law, but you want to do it anyway. So you're waiting to cut corners, create loopholes. Again, the reason why I know that they're lying is because, again, as a legal migrant, as I've said on my Mary Truth Talks account on Instagram, as a legal migrant, when you are a migrant, even though I'm a citizen now, you know people that are also migrants, but they didn't come here the right way. Okay? We know people like that, unfortunately. They know how we feel. Those people were aware. They got a Social Security number. They got Medicaid. They got food stamps. And they got all that before they got a worker's permit. And yet these people want to lie and say that illegals don't get health care. Yeah, they do. You're lying. And people like me know you're lying because we literally seen it firsthand. So you can't fool me. You can fool Greg, because he's an American citizen. He doesn't talk to any migrants, apparently. He has no idea what's going on. He believes everything mass media tells him. But as a legal migrant, I'm very much aware that illegals got health care. So they're lying, and they told you right then and there what they actually believe. And they think we should have health care for all, including illegal migrants. All right. So speaking of health care, Trump just made a deal with Pfizer. Let's take a look at that and what that means.
What did we learn about America this week? It was an action-packed week in America, beginning with a government shutdown as Democrats and Republicans failed to arrive at a compromise on health care benefits.
At midnight, Donald Trump and Republicans shut the federal government down because they don't want to provide health care to working class Americans.
Democrats could have worked with us, but instead, they did something that is rather shocking to us. They prioritized taxpayer-funded benefits for illegal aliens over keeping the government open for American citizens.
But despite what you heard from the mainstream media, that wasn't the big healthcare story of the week. It was this.
Pfizer is committing to offer all of their prescription medications to Medicaid, that it will be at the most favored nation's prices. Low-income Americans will be helped so greatly. In addition, Pfizer is agreeing to provide some of their most popular current medications to all consumers at heavily discounted prices of anywhere between 50 and even 100%. These drugs will be available for direct purchase online at a website operated by the federal government. They'll be starting immediately.
The deal will mean huge relief for Americans living paycheck to paycheck. Lowering the cost of drugs is something many Democrats have promised to do for years, and yet none did. It was Donald Trump, a Republican, who managed it. That's the real story of last week. Not which party is to blame for the shutdown, but that Trump stole yet another signature issue out from under the Democrats' noses to help working class Americans. And he got the private sector to pick up the tab. So how did he pull this off? Trump ignored the experts who insisted that healthcare is the Democrats' bag. He used tariffs to create an incentive for Pfizer to begin reshoring the manufacturing of drugs and demand other nations carry more of the burden. And in so doing, Trump changed the rules of the market to align the interests of a private company with those of its consumers. He also called both RFK Jr. and Dr. Oz, administrator of the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid, relentlessly at all hours of the night and day, demanding that they make headway. These are the three signature moves that define Trump's deal-making. Step one, ignore the conventional wisdom. Step two, identify with the interests of the two warring sides. Step three, be tenacious but nimble, unafraid to pivot if a better offer presents itself. Ignore, align, play the long game. Trump doesn't only use this signature deal-making playbook for domestic policy. It's how he's been navigating conflicts across the globe, as he did this week.
We'll talk about that another time. That's a heavy topic. All right. So let's watch. Well, no, let's not. I want to talk about Bad Bunny before we watch the whole Bad Bunny thing. Okay, so I don't like Bad Bunny. I don't find him talented. I don't understand half the things he says when he plays his music or what. I mean, I don't call that music, but people would consider that music. However, people consider him talented and popular, and it's like a global phenomenon. Everybody loves Bad Bunny. Okay, cool. So there are many reasons why I don't like Bad Bunny. First of all, he pushes the whole transgender ideology when there's a video of him pretending to be a woman in one of his songs. And I thought, why couldn't he have just got a woman to play that role? Why are you the woman? So that was already a red flag. Okay. Another red flag is him talking about Latinos as if they are his people when they're not. Puerto Ricans are American. They're in a very special situation where, you speak Spanish, but you're American. So even if you're born in Puerto Rico, you speak Spanish as your first language because it is one of our territories. You're an American citizen the minute you're born in Puerto Rico. So when he says, my people, I don't want to, and he kind of makes it seem like him going to the Super Bowl is going to be problematic because he doesn't want his people to get, arrested by ICE. You're creating problems that don't really exist because they're not your people. You're not an immigrant. You're an American citizen. If a Cuban were to say that, then that would make sense. But it's not a Cuban saying that. It's a Puerto Rican saying that. And Puerto Ricans are American. They're not immigrants. So to me, that was just a way to stir up steam. And you got it. Now the director of Homeland Security, Kristi Noem, was like, you know what? Yeah, we are going to have ICE agents there now. So if you were expecting Latinos to show up, yeah, they got to be legal if you're going to show up. If not, we'll find out and we'll arrest them. I mean, I don't know how they're going to find out, but I'm sure they have policies on how they can like profile people or whatever. But I just thought that was just so like, you're an artist. Why are you putting your 2 cents on things that are not, it's none of your business. And it doesn't even have anything to do with you personally, because you're not a migrant. Just like Selena Gomez, when she was crying about when this whole mass deportation started. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Bitch, you didn't even speak Spanish. What are you sorry about? Like, if you tell me that you genuinely are Mexican, your first language was Spanish, you came here, you grew up here like me, and then, okay, but you didn't. You don't speak Spanish. You're full-blown American. The only thing Spanish about you is your last name. That's it. So what are you crying about? Like, you're not relatable to us at all. You're pretending to be. So to me, that was just, again, I don't know who is the one who manages BadBunny, but whoever they are, I have a feeling that they're extremely leftist and very anti-sovereignty and pro one world government. So if we can watch this last one, and we're going to wrap it up here.
The MAGA meltdown over BadBunny headlining the Super Bowl halftime show is not letting up anytime soon. The NFL's decision drawing the ire of major right-wing commentators and influencers, and Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem now confirming ICE agents will be in Santa Clara.
Yeah, we'll be all over that place. And we're going to enforce the law. So I think people should not be coming to the Super Bowl unless they're law-abiding Americans who love this country.
Yeah,
well, joining me now is our friend Dominic Patton, executive editor for Deadline Hollywood. So, Dominic, you report ICE agents will be on the ground to harass the halftime show, and then we just heard Secretary Noem say, agents are going to be there.
They don't understand that language is very important.
Reaction to her threats?
And they do it on purpose. They know exactly what they're doing.
It comes down to 3 things from the MAGA world and the Department of Homeland Security Secretary. 1, clearly a hatred of capitalism, because BadBunny is a big star and he's going to make a lot of money for the NFL.
What does that have to do with capitalism?
Watch his halftime show at the Super Bowl. Secondly, ignorance. They might want to remember that Puerto Rico is part of America. And secondly,
right. So what does that have to do with immigration?
One of the most popular artists in the entire world. And third, I think there's a little bit of a loser syndrome. You know, BadBunny recently, after completing a 40-show residency in Puerto Rico, said that he wasn't going to bring his world tour to the United States because he was worried that ICE agents would try to arrest some of his fans and swarm the arenas he was in. That clearly got under the skin of the Trump administration for someone flipping them the bird, essentially. And then the NFL, which it turns out is too big to bully.
NFL is woke as hell.
Put on the halftime show with his Rock Nation.
They've lost so much money because of how left they've gone.
My shoulders, decided that they weren't going to be told what to do.
Right.
MAGA, as you saw there with the Homeland Security Secretary, have determined that only law-abiding real Americans can come to the Super Bowl. They clearly don't know who watched the Super Bowl. It's everyone. It's a bad move. And interestingly, Alex,
you don't even know the person's name they're talking to.
Said,
my God.
Actually, we don't have any plans for ICE people to be at the Super Bowl any more than we would at any other event. So a little bit of a kneecapping there.
All right, so that's it. I don't really care about their conversation. I just wanted to hear himself. When I hear these people, I just hear like this is the leftist talking points. All right, so I love how they talk about capitalism as if they believe in it. They don't believe in capitalism. They believe in socialism. That's why they want healthcare for all, including illegal migrants. So it's so rich how he uses capitalism, a word he has no idea what that means, because you're for things that are anti-capitalist. That's 1. 2, first of all, NFL should be for legal migrants and Americans. If you're a illegal migrant, you shouldn't be going to any of those things, because you should be prioritizing your status because you're illegal. Like, the fact that these people think, oh yeah, these illegals should just be participating in all our American activities. No, they shouldn't. They should be focusing on how to make their illegal status legal. That's what they should be doing. That's their only priority, should be how to not be illegal anymore. Like, that should be the only purpose and priority of a migrant who does not have legal status in this country. And these people, because they don't comprehend that should be a priority, because you're not illegal, you're an American citizen. So you think they should just act like you and do what you do. Like, no, they shouldn't. Because A, they haven't assimilated, and B, they're not even supposed to be here. So they need to focus on how to stay here legally. And going to the NFL, or whatever you call it, the Super Bowl, I don't like sports, so yeah, I don't even know. It's a Super Bowl, right? Yeah. Shouldn't be a priority. Like, so the fact that this loser, who's super gay, by the way, I wanted to use the word the F-A-G-O-T, that's literally what he is. Because I can't say it, YouTube won't let me. Whatever, you get it, okay? I can't say it, okay? It's not even the fact that he's gay. I don't care that he's gay. It's just, there's a difference between gay and, F. There's a difference, and he's definitely hard F. And the fact that he knows he has clout, he knows he's like a global star somehow. What is talent? What is music nowadays? And he says things like that. Oh, I'm scared of going there because I don't want illegals to get arrested. Like, why do you have to say shit like that? You do that on purpose. Literally, that's what it was. It was just a stunt to get the administration to pretty much put a light on him and the NFL. And all you did was say, you know what? Yeah, we are going to have more security there now, just in case. But like I said, I don't think illegal migrants are focusing on going to a Super Bowl. I think they're focusing on how to make their illegal status legal. So that's just me. At BadBunny, you suck. You're not talented. I don't know why people listen to you. I can't even understand what the hell you say. And I speak Spanish. And it's just, I honestly don't know what makes him talented. Honestly. I think he did some gay shit to get to the top. That's what I think. There's no way this guy made it to the top organically. I'm sorry. I don't care what you think. You can say I'm homophobic, bigotry, whatever. I don't care. But he's not talented, so he must have done something to get there. That's all I'm saying, okay? That's all I got to say about that. But nonetheless, those of you who subscribe, those you like and share with your friends, family, foes, people that don't like what I have to say, share with them, because I love having people like Greg on my show. It does, it fulfills me. It makes my day. So Greg, thank you for coming on. And those of you who enjoy, thank you so much for tuning in. Stay being a truth seeker, and I will see you guys next time.